All right, let's get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Marisa Stone. I am your resident systems queen. Anything that has to do with systems, I'm totally your girl. Last seminar year, I ranked as maiden, and I'm actively working on re-ranking right now, continuing to build my team this seminar year and really pouring myself into this business. And I'm so very excited to provide this training on Shout because I know several people have tried to kind of provide this training and they haven't been able to kind of give you a really good overview. So I'm going to start you at the very beginning. Those of you who've never used Shout, let's dig into this. Those of you who have used it, maybe you'll learn a few things that I do that might make your life a little bit easier. I fell in love with Shout when Jaylyn kept saying it doubled her business. It doubled her business. And I'm like, what in the world is this Shout, right? And I finally slowed down and decided that I was going to get involved and I was going to go look at Shout and I was going to figure all the pieces out. And let me tell you what, since I have done so, my business has doubled. You know how you guys keep seeing me on Jaylyn's list? I know, totally shocked. I tell you, I seriously owe it all to Shout. It has made it so easy for me to set up my customers, tag them and group them, reach out to them, follow up with them, package and ship all of their orders out, pre-schedule every way that I connect with them. And they really feel like I'm there. I know what they need. And all they have to do is say, hey, Marisa, I need another mascara. Because I've got the details in my Shout about which mascara they ordered, I already know what to send them. And it's a non-issue, right? So let's get into it. How many of you currently, just by a show of hands, are using boards? Is everybody pretty much using boards? Cool. So I start this entire process inside boards. And what I do, and I'm actually going to show you guys, let me see if I can share my screen real quick. So I actually start in boards because I want to be able to show my team members exactly what questions they're supposed to ask. So I created a board inside my team's board, actually. And we started using that in order to, to ask the questions that needed to be asked so that we could all be on the same page. Okay, let's see if you guys can see my boards. Can you guys see that right now? Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay.
What is your board called?
I'm sorry?
What is your board's called?
Mine is Glam Girl Squad. Yeah, so my team is Glam Girl Squad. That's what I call my board. And I have an entire section in here that's called Start Everyone Here. And as I pull these up, I want you guys to screenshot these because I want you to use them or something similar. Obviously, you can write your own. But all of my girls come in and they see distributor, please read at the beginning of this board. All this information should be added to your Shout the minute that you add your people in as a contact. This info will be required to add them to Shout. And then you also need to know the other detail with regard to their skin type and that sort of thing. So here's the first question I ask, and I send all my people the skincare quiz. And I say, let's begin. This is a short quiz. It's short and sweet. It doesn't collect your info. So you're going to have to come back here and tell me what your results were so that I can introduce you to products that work. And I always ask before I send the link, is that okay? Because that shows them that I'm requesting the ability to send them this quiz so that then we can move forward. And then it starts a back and forth dialogue. You guys have heard me talk a ton about how relationships are key. This is part of that. Don't just spam them with stuff. Always say, hey, is it okay if I send you this? Hey, is it okay if I send you this link to fill out for me, or whatever it is you're trying to get them to do? So that's question one. Did everybody grab that? And then question two is the undertone, the skin's undertone chart. And so you get this question. Next, look at the following chart. Which undertone best describes your skin? And then I pulled this from Valley Girl Beauty group. And it literally is a short, sweet snippet of how do you determine your skin tone. And the reason that I ask my ladies this is because when I send them a sample kit, I always send them something that is in their skin tone as a gift. So maybe it's a scrunchie, or maybe it's a headband, or maybe it's a, I don't know, whatever it is, right? I always send something extra to make them feel like they really have a cool, sample pack. So I want to know what their skin tone is so that off the bat, I can make sure that I'm sending them not only sample products, but other little gifts that are also something that they're more likely to wear. And then the third question is, if you had to choose which of these shades closely matches your skin, I don't believe this is the time to figure out which foundation they should be wearing. So what I do is I send them this little graphic that gives them the opportunity to choose a CCTM shade, right? So this goes from fair to deep. And as we all know, it adjusts up or down, right? And so this is a really easy place to start your people in figuring out where you need to be focusing the color of the shade of their skin. And then the last question is where we collect their name, their phone number, their email, their mailing address, and all those sorts of things. And the reason that I go ahead and collect all these things up front is because now I can add them into Shout, and I can start building out the data that is their contact information inside my Shout. So I always make sure to tell them I'll never share their info, and I'm not going to be spamming them. And I also tell them that telling me their birthday is optional, but I'd love to just send them a birthday gift. So for those that do send me this, I can send them out a birthday gift. So that's the first board that everybody starts with. Okay, so then let's get into Shout. Now that you've collected all this information, and over the course of actually going back and forth with this information, you guys are going to be adding lib a little bit. You're going to be talking to them a little bit about different things that they're doing. Like let's say they come back with their skin type and it's normal to oily, right? Well, you can talk a little bit about, you either have a client that, uses that skin line, or maybe you use that, right? But you give yourself that opportunity to start having a dialogue. Then when you get into Shout, you're going to see this dashboard. This dashboard shows you how many current orders you have going on, any drip campaigns you might be using, any bots that might be active, and any unread messages. But over here is where we're going to be focusing the most. This is the toolbar on the left, and this is the one that I want you paying attention to. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a contact. Please, please, please do not screenshot anything from this. This is my active Shout. And when I put together the video for this session that you guys will get to rewatch, I'll make sure to blur everybody's names. But on this call, they're just going to be here. So just please, respect the peeps that you're going to see. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a contact. And there's a little bitty blue plus sign right there. So let's start adding our contact in. Let me see if I can see the chat. So I'm going to call this lady Jane Doe. What?
Is this only by computer? Because my screen don't look anything like that.
Yes. If you are on your mobile device, it'll look very similar. So let me pull up my Shout in mobile so you can see that. It'll be very, very similar to what you're seeing, but it's going to be a little different. It's hard to see. You're going to go to contacts, which is down at the bottom in the center. And then right there where the plus sign is, you're going to add a new contact. You see that? I don't know who asked me that question because I can't see you guys. So it's going to be a little bit different on your mobile device. I try my best to do all of my managing on my computer, and then I go to my phone to just have conversations. Does that make sense? So let's call her Jane Doe. Let's give her a phone number she can have my number. Why not? Let's give her an email of janedoe@gmail. And then what should her birthday be? You guys want to say April 30th, maybe? And what year was she born? Somebody give me a year. in the chat?
1980.
There you go, 1980. Perfect. Okay, so she was born in 1980. Come on. And then what's her address? So give me a street number.
123 Main Street.
123 Main Street. And we're going to say she lives in Dallas because that's where I live. Why not? And we're going to give her a zip code, whatever. Oh, sorry. I guess we can't give her a dashed zip code. Okay. So let's say this is her contact. Look, they're getting on to me. This number is already taken. All right, we'll give her that phone number. And we will create her contact. Now, this is the cool part. Once you get inside here, you can do all kinds of things to utilize this space as your CRM. So notice down here at the bottom, most of us have conversations like via Messenger, right? So you can put her social media right here. You can list her Facebook, her Instagram, her YouTube, her Twitter, her TikTok, however you want to stay in touch with her, that can all go right there. The other thing that you can do is you can go into the notes section and you can talk about who this person is. So somebody give me an idea of what her skin type was. What kind of skin did she have?
Dry.
Dry. And what was her skin shade?
Fair.
Fair. And what's the other one? What is her skin tone? Is she cool, warm, neutral?
Cool.
She's cool. Okay. And then what are some other challenges that she might be having that we may have gotten to in our back and forth banter?
Maybe she has hormonal acne or
Okay.
just periodic breakout.
Hormonal acne. And what else?
Like redness on the face.
Yes, redness. Okay. So now you know enough about her to know what products might she need. Think about it.
Climate control.
She might need climate control, right? So in her sample pack that you're getting ready to send her, you're going to send her climate control. What else might you send her?
CCTM.
CCTM in fair, right? What else might you send her?
Some skincare sample, like, like face wash, all those, a few different lines to see which one helps her.
Yep. And what about her hormonal acne? What might you help her with that?
I was going to say Spot On.
Yes, but you can't send a sample of Spot On. What can you send that can go in the sample pack that you're getting ready to send her?
Want to bet?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Facial resurfacer.
You can facial resurfacer. And that is what I would send her, right? So, so this gives you an idea of everything about Jane that you need to know to start serving her. Does this make sense? Then once she is in your contacts, this is another example of one that I've created. Once I send out all the stuff to her and I follow up with her, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a few moments, then I make a note of what the high ticket or the refillable items that she chose to purchase were, right? So it's one thing if they're buying lip sense. Well, they're probably going to use that for a long time, right? It's quite another if they're doing mascara and primer and climate control and CCTM and powders and, the skincare, all those sorts of things. So I want to make a note when she ordered from me, what were those things that I need to make sure that I send follow-ups about, right? And this helps me later when I'm shipping an order out to her to be able to set up a follow-up for her mascara, a follow-up for her primer, a follow-up for her climate control, a follow-up for her CCTM, and a follow-up for her powder. Now, what's she going to think when she starts receiving these follow-ups?
You're on top of things.
That you're on top of things, right? So what I did, and Jalen initially shared with me these quick responses, and I'm sure there's a way that I can share them with you guys. So I'll figure that out and pull them out of here. But what I did was I built on the quick responses that she sent me. And so if I have someone who's using CCTM for the first time as a new user, I will send them this follow-up. If they've been using CCTM for about a month and a half, I'll send them this follow-up, right? And I've done that with pretty much every product that my ladies are using on a regular basis, because it makes it super simple on the back end for me to go in and pull this follow-up immediately. So let me give you an example. So I'm going to go over here to my shipping. Once I've pulled my person in and I've started setting up, and I've created their shipping label, which all happens right here. And once you've done the shipping label, you can schedule follow-ups. This is a lady that I just sent a sample pack to, 2 days ago, I think. So once her package is delivered, she's going to get a 2-day follow-up from me that says, "Hey, Shannon, it's Marisa. Just wanted to check in and see how you were liking your samples. Which ones are your favorites? Any questions so far?" And down here at the bottom, that says it is going to go out 2 days after the shipping delivered message. So I try to only send out follow-ups after the package has actually been delivered. And one of my favorite things about shipping through Shout is it tells me that the package has been delivered. It tells them that the package has been delivered, and both of us get tracking links. So if there's ever a problem with a delivery, I can click on that link and I know exactly where that thing was delivered, and I know exactly how to guide them to go find it. I had a customer once whose package was delivered on her front porch, and she didn't find it because she never goes to her front door. And so I was like, well, it shows me that it's delivered right here. And Shout allowed me to just follow up like that, right? So that's the 2-day follow-up for a sample pack. Then at 10 days, I'm going to start talking to her a little bit about climate control. She'll be a new user, so she gets the new user follow-up under climate control. And I talk a little bit about how to apply it and how to snip just the uppermost corner off the sample so she gets to use it for the longest amount of time, right? She can put a little bit in her hand, put it on her face, and then she's still got that sample to use for a couple of more days. And then I'm going to do the same thing about 2 weeks after, and I'm going to talk about her CCTM sample in the same way. Does that make sense? Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a tag to her contact. And the reason that I add this tag is because once I've tagged her with this, sample sent, I'm going to move you guys so I can show you this. Then I can turn around and view all the people who I've sent a sample pack to recently. And I can also send them a broadcast message, which is basically one message that I'm sending out to everybody all at once, checking in on their sample kits. And I can touch base with each one of those people without them feeling like I've spammed a whole group of people. I can run a bot to them. And we're not going to talk about bots and drip campaigns on this training, but I would be happy to create another one all about those if you guys want that later. Bots and drip campaigns are really cool. They're just a little more complicated. I can also create a recurring event, right? So let's say that I need to know that every one of these people has gotten a sample kit and only a few of them have gotten back to me. I can create a recurring event that is going to keep going and keep posting something to them that helps me to continue to reach out to them. I have a couple of people who got a sample kit and they haven't gotten back to me. That recurring event is going to help me stay top of mind for those people. Does that make sense? The bots are the best. Give us everything, Micah says. I wish I could. I don't have time tonight, but I definitely will come back and do those. Those are very, very involved when you're creating those.
Hey, can you create like you know how you created boards? Can you create a board that says follow up quick response or something? And maybe you and Jalen or something like that and share that out, because that would really, really help.
Yes, you can. The cool thing about this is these responses go out automatically, so you don't have to babysit it. You don't have to babysit whether or not that thing was delivered. You do not have to babysit what day they get a follow-up, and you do not have to babysit that they get one at 2 weeks and they get one at 2 months, and then they get one at 6 months, or however far out you want to schedule them. It is automatically set up for you. So somebody's asking about the marketing number. So I did the marketing plan because it's something like $240 a year. And that's one skincare client, right, to me. And so that gives me both a customer service number and a marketing number. The difference between the two is the ability to use group messages or broadcasts, drip campaigns, and bots. If you don't have a marketing number, you can't do those. So let's talk about groups for a minute. How many of you guys do events or sales or other such things that you want to be able to pull those people into a contact method of reaching out to them after the event is over? I know I do. I do a ton of them, right? So one of the things you can do with groups is you can actually set up a group in your Shout that talks about whatever it is you've done. So let's say you've done a vendor event, right? You can set up a vendor event group, and you can put everybody that joined your vendor event via Shout into this. Well, Marisa, how do I get them in Shout? Offer them a freebie with their order. Hey, if you join my Shout, you get whatever it is, right? And you send that thing with their order because they joined your Shout. So it gives you that opportunity to start really, categorizing and pulling your people together so you're able to reach out to them better. Somebody who met you at a vendor event is going to be very different than somebody who joined you in the Skincare Mega Party, right? And you're going to want to talk to them a little bit differently when you reach out to them. Maybe you'll say something about, hey, thanks for joining the giveaway at the vendor event. I want to update you. We're doing the drawing on such and such a date, right? It gives you that opportunity to start building that relationship, which is our ultimate goal. Tags are very similar. I talked about them just a few minutes ago. Tags are really easy because I use mine for my sample kits, but you can use them for pretty much anything that you want. You can tag people for events. You can tag people for discounts. Let's say you're offering a discount, a 10% off on something for some reason. You can actually create a 10% discount tag, and those people who took advantage of that discount. So it doesn't look like there's any major questions in here. So that was pretty much what I wanted to cover with you guys tonight. I wanted to give you kind of an overview of how to start using Shout. It is a really simple tool. It gives you everything up front, right in front of you. You know exactly what you've been doing and how you've been doing it, and how many outstanding orders you have, how many orders still need to be processed. You have an inbox that gives you the opportunity to talk directly to your people. It's just an amazing tool to help make sure that your people are well taken care of, and they really feel like, you're doing your best to service them, right? I love that I can go in here and I can see how many shipments I've made. I can see how many are ready for labels. I can see how many are ready to print, how many are ready to ship. It just makes it really simple for me to keep in touch with my people. What about questions? Anybody have any questions on anything that I've taught you here tonight?
I do, Marisa.
Sure.
This is Sarah. So you showed when you were in the notes section, like when someone purchases and buys like a CCTM mascara,
right,
and stuff like that. Do you put them into a group, or do you tag them with something in order to know, like, okay, now I need to follow up with people that bought mascara, like at Mascara Mania? Like, how do you?
So usually, let me
out.
show you under, like I said, I had just sent Shannon's out. So under her notes, I'm talking a little bit about what's going on with her. And then once she orders, let me show you Natasha's. Once she's ordered, I will then list in the notes section some of the things that she purchased that I want to remember she purchased. Natasha went from trying the stuff the first time to placing an almost $500 order. Like, she was in love with the stuff. And a lot of what she purchased was, you know, of course, the mascara and primer, the climate control, the CCTM, the skincare, all of those sorts of things. And I wanted to be able to follow up with her on some of those pieces. So I made a note inside my notes. Now, there's going to come a time that this information may not be important when I'm talking about Natasha, and I might change this up. Maybe she goes from needing climate control to, you know, she was complaining the other day about struggling with dry skin. Well, maybe she needs a different formula. I know I'm in between two different formulas, right? I do the oily to acne and the normal to oily. So maybe as the seasons change, she needs a little bit of the next, you know, maybe she needs normal to dry, right? As part of this collection of skincare that she uses on her face. But because I've made a note of that, and I know she originally was normal to oily, I know which direction to go in for the next product I'm sending her. Does that make sense? And it may be that I then will next add a note in here that says normal to oily and normal to dry. And that way I know she's in between, like I am. She's in between two different skincare collections. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It just teaches me about her so that when it's time to service her and she says, hey, I'm out of my cleanser, I can say which one, the normal to oily or the normal to dry. Right? Okay, let's see. I just started with Shout. I contacted my recent orders, said something like, I'm starting a new follow-up process. Can I get your phone number? Yeah, that's a cool way to do it. Then whenever I get a new customer, I ask for their email and their phone number. Yes, Heather, that's a great way to do it. I created a board because I found that my ladies were really struggling to keep up with what I was trying to get them to do. And it's super simple for them to just go to that board and pull those first 4 questions before they even start dealing with the person. And it makes it really easy because then as they start moving forward, they already know the skin type. They already know the skin shade. They already know whether they're warm or cool or neutral. They already know kind of some of those basic building blocks to being able to provide the best, you know, customer service. Yeah, the CDO and Kiss and Tell and all of that does not go through any of this. You have to add that stuff in. So if you decide that you want to pull that stuff into your Shout, it's totally doable. You can do that, but you have to go to the website to pull that information.
Hey, Marissa, can I share something real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't planning on talking because I look like this right now, but I wanted to share something. I am like very, very, very consistent with pulling people into Shout because if you guys think about it, it's a CRM system. So you want all your customers in one place. So if you're just putting the people in Shout that are ordering through you and not your Kiss and Tell or CDO customers, you're missing out on a huge chunk of your customers. So I pull everyone in. I leave the orders in my inbox, like my Kiss and Tell and CDO, until I've put them into Shout. It's kind of like my system. But yeah, I put them in there. I schedule a text just like my normal. I schedule the refills. I do everything that Marissa's talking about. I do follow-ups on the sample that they chose to get on their CDO or their Kiss and Tell order. All of that is like exactly the same. You're just doing maybe a little bit extra work, but it is so worth it in the long run. So, and then I wanted to answer one question, Carissa. This was a really good question. And I have this question all the time. So she said, how do you get your customers to switch over to texting you? Here is my biggest piece of advice. First of all, make sure that they know why this is benefiting them. And then second of all, don't give them another option. When I started this, if people still message me on social media, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you to order that. I have a new system, just text me here and I'm so happy to help you place your order or whatever. Yep. So I don't give them a choice and I make sure, oh, I have this new system. It's going to benefit you. It's going to make things easier for me, better communication. I can offer you more like rewards, whatever, like whatever those benefits are, make sure you're saying, I'm moving to this system to save myself time to help you. So save this number in your phone so you can contact me. Texting is just easier, whatever you want to say, but just don't give them a choice. Just say, awesome, I'd love to help you. Send a text here. That's what I do every single time. And I don't have problems. No one's ever once complained about texting in.
Yeah, I've never had a problem. I just ask them to, to reach out to me on Shout, and they do. Not everybody will actually download Shout. I think in the beginning there was a lot of difficulty. People don't really want another app on their phone. So not everybody's going to download it, and that's okay. They don't necessarily have to. They just need to be able to communicate via the platform with me.
I have a quick question.
Or a phone number?
Say that. Two people were talking.
Is that a Shout number or a phone number, or a phone number to our phone?
So it is through Shout, but it goes through your normal text messaging system on your phone. The way that so mine is set up in a special place on my phone because I don't want it mixing with my normal text. I want to be able to go directly there and manage my customers. And when I'm talking to them and following up and doing all the things, I want that in the app. But if you don't have that, it will go through your normal text messenger. For you as the business owner, I would download the app.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
I have a vendor event that I'm doing on Saturday. Every time I do vendor events and I try to tell them, to do the texting and stuff, they all say no. I don't know if I'm wording it wrong. I don't know how to get them to do that.
So what are you saying?
I'm just saying that for future refills and stuff, you can just text this phone number and then I will get your refill. And they say, oh no, we don't want text. I don't want to text. That's what I get a lot.
So some people will say that if they're being charged per text message via their carrier, then they don't want that, obviously, right? But I would change it just a little bit, and I would say, maybe help me out here a little bit, Jaylin. I would say something like, text giveaway to this number, or text whatever the thing is. The cool thing about Shout is it lets you use trigger words. So if you're at a vendor event, you can actually put the title of the vendor event in, and you can have them join your giveaway by texting whatever the vendor event is to your phone number. And I always tell them to my number. I don't say to this number like it's some random number out there. I say, text this word to me, at this number, and then I'll, add you to my giveaway, or I'll send you a sample kit, or whatever it is I'm trying to get them to do. So it might be a little bit in semantics in the way that you're saying it, but it may also be that some people are just being charged for text messages.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. One thing I would suggest as well, when people are ordering through CDO and Kiss and Tell, I don't necessarily ask them like, oh, can I text you? Because I know maybe they'll be like, oh no, but they do get a message saying, hey, thank you so much for your order on my site. I'm so excited for you. Senegence is going to ship this in 3 to 4 days. I saw that you got the silk sample. It is so amazing. I'm going to check in with you in a few days to get it. So if people are ordering from you, I just stick their information in there. No, not one person's ever said stop, don't text me. I mean, if it's like a robot message and they can tell it's not specific to them, they might be like, stop. But when I send out new launches or things going on, those people need to subscribe. You can't just be sending messages out to everyone. So my VIP number, that number, they do have to subscribe to that. And I encourage people to do that, but I don't send out new launches or anything unless they have said yes, I want to be a part of that. But as far as things specific to their order, you can just text them and add their info to Shout.
Yep. Add it directly in. And that's what I do, because it just makes it easier. I can get all my people in one place, and I'm able to reach out to them anytime I need to. Rhea has a question. Can you run queries to reach out to people about certain products? That's what your tags and groups are for. So if you're wanting to, let's say you guys have seen where they challenge us to sell, 10 items of whatever that item is, you can actually use a tag or a group to create people who have ordered around those specific products. and later on follow up with them once they've received it. So the new legacy collection, for instance, right? When people order that, you can follow up with them in 2 days after they receive it, 2 weeks after they receive it, 2 months after they receive it. And, you know, if you've got them all tagged properly, you can send that out to everybody at once. This is a dumb question, but does going through shout texting mess up my Facebook algorithm? No, I don't think so. I've not heard of anybody saying anything about shout impacting the algorithm. Have you, Jaylin?
No, I haven't. And honestly, I still think it's great to have conversations with like your customers through Messenger, but just always direct them back. Like if they're like, hey, how's your life going? Or you're wanting to have a conversation, still have convos on social media, still create those relationships. But when it comes to ordering, just have them order through shout. It hasn't messed up my algorithm or anything like using that. Honestly, I know she already said this, but it literally doubled my sales. And I wouldn't say like the week I started using it, it doubled my sales, but I would say after 1 month, maybe like $500, after 2 months, like another $500. But having these systems in place, it takes time to get everyone on board. It takes time to get your systems in place, but you guys, the systems are where the success is, because it makes it easier and you're not having to manually remember, oh crap, I need to check in with this person. And as your business grows, you have to be able to keep track of people. Otherwise, they're just going to get lost in the abyss.
Right. And this prevents that. Every single person I have in Shout has heard from me at least in the past 60 days. And that's a big difference, right? Can you say that about every one of your current customers?
What I did for an event this past weekend, I always open with, I don't tell them that I'm going to text them for refills or anything like that. I say, hey, if you want this new beauty book, write down your name and phone number and it'll come straight to you like in 5 seconds. And they get so excited and they write down their name and their phone number, because I'm like old school, and I'll send it to them. I have this thing from Boards that'll send it straight to them, all the information from me if they have any questions, and that's the way I do it.
Yeah, which is fine until you get about, 2,000 people in your customer database. And then it's like, oh my gosh, right? So what I'm trying to do is build this system out so that it is a well-oiled machine by the time I build my customer base to the level that I'm operating on Jaylin's scale.
Yeah, I think he was asking for like people's number at the event. They do have a trouble giving your number, but when you say, hey, this technology is so great that if you give me your phone number, I can send you a book right then and there. And that's what gets them excited when you say you can send them a book, not say I can send you samples. I can send you a book, and they get excited.
Yeah. And you can also, I don't know if you guys have seen those little acrylic boards with the QR codes. You can send Shout to them in a link too, and they can scan the QR code on their phone, fill out the info from a bot, especially for a vendor event, fill out the info for a bot to join your giveaway or to, get a sample kit or to whatever it is, right? And that's where bots and, some of those other drip campaigns and things can come into play to be very helpful. Again, they're a lot more involved in creating those, so I don't want to cover those on this session, but I'll totally come back and cover those if you guys want me to later. I'm just trying to get you to start using it in a simple and, succinct format so that it makes it really easy for you to move into using Shout with your people. There was another question, Jaylin, and I don't do this, so I don't have the answer to this one. Heather asked, how do you schedule refill info?
Okay, so isn't that what you were sharing earlier? Like the things I shared with you?
I think you do it a little bit differently than I do it. You have people join like a mascara club or a whatever it is. Okay, I've never done that, so I didn't know if that's what she was asking. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah. So what we're talking about it with this is one of the follow-ups can be simply, let's say somebody's ordered CCTM from you and they're two months into using this bottle and they're going to run out pretty soon. You can simply send a follow-up at the 2-month mark or the 2.5-month mark saying, hey, I'm going to be, ordering my bulk order this month. Do you want me to throw in a light CCTM for you? Right. And then you can go ahead and invoice those people once they respond to you and say, yes, please, I also want whatever.
Yeah, I do. So anytime anyone orders, this is just the process we do. So when someone orders, I get their order in my inbox. We instantly add them as a contact if they're not already there. And then we schedule their follow-up. So I follow up to make sure they got their products, they love their products, no matter if it's coming from me or Senegence. And then I do refills. So obviously we can't ask, like refills on LipSense, right? I'm not doing those because who knows, that could be 2, 3, 4, who knows, years.
Right.
But as far as like things that we're using on a 2, 3, 4 month basis, like our skincare, our CCTM, our glosses, our mascara, so I schedule that immediately. So if you bought me mascara from me today, I would schedule a text 2.5 months later and just say, hey, it's getting close to that 3-month mark. You want to replace your mascara 3 to 4 months after opening it. Let me know if you're ready to grab a new one. Like just as simple as that. So that's it.
And they're pre-scheduled once you've shipped their package. So the way I do it is I follow, if you guys can see on my screen here, there's actually a system, details, notes, activity, orders, shipping, and loyalty. And I follow this exactly. They place the order, I ship it, and then in the shipping tab, I can go ahead and schedule the follow-ups. So there's no question that they're going to receive a follow-up from me. They're definitely going to, right? So it's not going to be a week later and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to follow up with Jeannie because she ordered such and such. That doesn't happen in my world anymore, which is what makes Shout work so well. Any other questions?
Shout, great.
Thank you.
Okay, I have one more suggestion for you guys because I know this feels so overwhelming. When I first started Shout, the reason why I didn't start at Schooner, which honestly, that's my only regret in this business. I take everything as like, okay, this sucked. I learned from it. Great. But I regret not using Shout earlier. So start today. Just start with one thing. Like, don't feel like, oh my gosh, I have to go set up this and this and this and this. Just start with one thing.
Yeah.
And then just build up from there. Like start doing your check-ins, start adding your customers in. Just start with one thing and then add another one. So I actually had a meeting with my husband today and we sat down and we talked about all these things and my assistant as well. And we're going to implement even more things with Shout. So that's the awesome thing is you can start small and then you can slowly just continue to implement more things down the road, keeping track. And my goal is to make sure, like she said, to make sure that I don't go like 60 to 90 days without a customer not being contacted. Like if I'm looking back and I'm like, oh crap, this customer has been contacted for 6 months. Like I don't want that. I want to make sure if they're not getting a refill text, like just say they bought 10 LipSense, I'm making sure that they have some sort of check-in coming in the next few months. Like every one of your customers needs a check-in at least every 60 to 90 days.
And I'll even say, people that you haven't followed up with in a while also need a follow-up from you, because no, when you first contacted them is not no forever and ever, amen. It's no, not right now. I've had several women that didn't order me the minute that I contacted them, but 6 months from there, they spent like $500 or $600 on whatever the products were that they needed at the time. So maybe they order 2-3 times a year, but that's all they order, right? So don't assume that just because they said no to you the first time, that's no forever, because it's not. And that's where Shout really is a game changer and has been for my business, because if I had not had these follow-ups set up, I'd have missed out on a ton of business. And I'm obviously still not where I want to be, but I know that this tool is going to help me get there, So I can't see any other questions that haven't been answered. So if you guys do have any, you know how to get in touch with me. I'm going to be scrubbing this video so that I take all of the names out of it. And then I will be posting it so that you guys can rewatch it and actually go through the steps that I've shared with you here to go ahead and get your own people set up in Shout. But look, it's very overwhelming at first, but just do it. When you actually sit down and actually do it, you're going to feel so much more in control of your business.
And also another side note, there's a Shout Facebook group and there's also Shout support. So they have a website, and every single one of your questions, there's probably an answer for on there. So make sure to go look around and you'll maybe learn some new stuff, and you can watch their tutorials because they're probably going to be even more clear than anything we can show you. So just use your resources, start with importing your customers or encouraging them to sign up for like your VIP first. I do specials for my VIPs like every other month, like, oh, a free scrunchie this month if you order, or all my VIPs get free shipping this month. Make sure you text in if you want to take advantage. So I'm always just like trying to get people in that VIP group, always.
Yeah. All right, ladies, thank you for hanging out. I know we ran over and I'm sorry about that, but I think Shout is a very, very, very useful tool. And I think you guys will love it if you just start using it. That was all I had.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.